I'm going to show you today how I film my YouTube videos. People have shown some interest in that over the past little while, and I've been meaning to do this for a while, but I just haven't had a chance. I've been so busy with the bees, but today is a perfect opportunity. Beautiful day. Let's do this. First of all, I want to show you the different equipment I use. I think you'll be amazed at how simple it is. And then I want to show you some tips and tricks on how I set up my videos, the type of camera angles and everything, just some little things to help maybe get you through the hump of maybe some issues that you may be coming across, trying to figure out how to shoot your videos. This is not just about beekeeping. It can be utilized for many different types of YouTube videos, I think. I want to show you how I set up while I'm going through the colonies. It could also be used for any crafts or any projects you're working on, whether it be beekeeping or not. And then I want to show you kind of how I do my intros and outros, just kind of like this right here, utilizing this particular device. It's also a very windy day today, so I'm going to show you how I deal with the wind as well. The secret is this little thing right here. So let's get busy. Let me show you what I'm doing. Let's talk about equipment first. And of course, the first thing is the camera. It's very simple. You can use anything you want. You can use a fancy camera. You can use a GoPro, but I just simply use an iPhone. So iPhone 13 Pro is kind of old, but it works well. I'm actually filming with one of my wife's phones right here so that I can capture this video. I just put it on video, the video function here, and I usually have started filming in 4K. You just tap it right here. And I've noticed that my videos have been much more clear and better. Now it is a little windy right now. I don't have my mic in. That's kind of on purpose so you can see how it sounds. So if you're filming, this is like the regular zoom. You can go wide zoom right there, or you can go in close like that. Of course, you lose a little bit of video quality if you zoom it in close. But that's kind of, I do most of my stuff just in the standard zoom, and then I can move it in and out in the editing software. And of course, I do selfies for my intros and outros like this. So really very simple. I just use my iPhone. I'm sure you can use an Android or really anything you want to use. Don't have to get too fancy to make a basic YouTube video. Don't overthink it. Now, the two most important parts of, I believe, of a video, number one, the camera, but almost as important is your sound. And so I've tried some different things, and I finally settled upon this system right here. It's the DJI mic system. I really like it because it has this little carrying case. It's very small. You see that's in my hand there. You've got the receiver. You can plug it into your phone. It's got different adapters. This adapter goes into the receiver, and it plugs right into the end of your phone right here. It also has this type of adapter right here for different products. It has a cord that you can use to plug it into a camera or any other device like a GoPro, I assume, as well as I've even used this to plug it into my computer using this adapter right here. And then this is your charge cord. Everything stays in the box right here. You can just you plug it in, it charges it up, and it's good for 15 hours. You can charge each of these mics in here and the receiver, I think, are good to last for 5 hours, and you can charge it 2 more times with the box. So it's really a neat system. I have not even begun to tap into the abilities of this thing. It has so many features you can utilize. I did go +1 on the gain, so it sounds a little bit louder in my videos. I found that to work well. And but there's all kinds of adjustments. You just have to look at the instructions to be able to figure out how to do all those things. But these mics right here will actually, they'll film into your phone. It goes straight into your video on your phone. You don't have to have any kind of app or anything to plug and play it in your computer. When you download it for your editing or when you upload your video, it is automatically included in the video. No app you have to use or anything like that. If you want to just record it, you can push a button right here, the mic, and it records it right here. So the red button now is just recording straight into the mic as well. So you can just basically record anything you want to without having to shoot a video if you want to do that. It's a pretty neat system. I love this DJI mic. It took me a while to find it, and I'm glad I did. I think they have an upgraded version now, but I still use the standard basic one. These are what you call a dead cat. They really are effective in windy conditions. One of the most frustrating things is when you shoot a video, you come home and your video is all muffled because of wind, and how do you edit that out? It's really hard to do, and it's just kind of can be very frustrating. So this just attaches right into the mic, and it holds it on there really well. It also has a little magnet right here, so if you just want to use this magnet to hook it to your shirt, you can do that, and it also has a clip. There's a couple more things I like about the DJI mic system. Number one, you do have a couple of mics in here, so you can be working in the bee yard with another person. You can be conversing back and forth, talking about things, discussing things. You can hear it perfectly right through the receiver, right into your phone or your camera. I do also like the fact that you can walk across the field out here and you can still hear me. I think it has a range of like a couple hundred yards maybe. So if I'm out here working, I'm walking, I'm not right at the camera, I can be discussing what I'm doing, walking away like this right here, and I'm probably 15 yards away, 20 yards away, no problems. And I could go on up over the hill over there probably, 100, 200 yards away, and I believe I could have some good sound quality. So I took a little extra time to talk about this mic because I think it's critically important. The third thing I use is a selfie stick right here. It's just one I got off Amazon. This is what it looks like. I'll try and find a link and put it down below, but really any selfie stick will do that'll work with the phone. It extends out, significantly. And it works really good for my intros and outros is mainly what I use it for. You can walk around with it, do anything you want. It also has a little mini tripod feature if you want to use that, but I typically just use my other tripod. Here is my tripod. Now this thing is another thing that's critically important for filming videos if you're trying to do it by yourself. This thing I bought on Amazon a while back. It's been a really good one. It's a little more, oh, there goes the wind. It got a little windy, so I went ahead and hooked my mic up here. Of course, if you're filming videos by yourself, a tripod is really important. This is the one I use. It's not an overly expensive one. I just got it on Amazon once again. I'll see if I can find the link for it and put it down below. I actually bought a second tripod, which is set up right here, so I'll be able to film this video today. But the key is with the tripod, this thing, you see how short this is. I think it's like 18 inches, so it's pretty short. But I think it also extends up to like 72 inches. So you have all kinds of range with this thing. And so it really makes it easy to look at hives both down close to the ground, and also if I want to just film a shot of me standing in front of the camera, I can do that. Or, the taller colonies, you can extend it up however high you need to. With the adjustable legs too, you can manage the differences in terrain and different heights and things like that, so it works out well. If you're going to use a phone to film, you need to make sure that whatever tripod you has this attachment for your phone to fit on it. It just clips right in the top here. So use a phone for the camera. We have the mic system, which is critically important. Those are the two most important things, I believe. I use a selfie stick, and then the tripod, one that will extend both low and high, along with the phone adapter if you're going to use a phone. Why don't we go on up there to the bees, and I'll show you some tips and tricks on actually filming while in the hives with the flying insects all around. Probably my first tip that I would give you is, at least in my case, I like to have the mic hooked to my shirt, right here underneath my neck, underneath the veil if you're working with bees. Whatever your setup is, if the mic is on the outside, the bees, for some reason, they will really go after it, and all you can hear is the bees buzzing and bumping that mic. And so I like to keep my mic underneath my veil or underneath my bee jacket. In this case, I'm just going to take this veil right here. This is my veil. I don't know if I'm going to need my jacket today or not for what we're going to do. We're just going to start off with the veil. So the particular veil I have is from Humble Bee. Fits right over my head like this. You can see the mic is on right here. And the bees, obviously you can hear the bees buzzing in the videos because they're close, but they're not all over the mic and just getting all up in there and making the strong buzzing noises that make it difficult to hear what I'm trying to say or do. If you want that effect, then that's what you can do. And some people may not have this particular mic set up, may not be able to do this, but in my case, it's what I like to do. That's my tip for you, number one, when working bees, is putting the mic underneath the veil, if at all possible. I think you could probably hook it up here on your cap or anywhere inside the veil. You can tell it's real windy right now. You should be able to hear me talking just fine because I've got the dead cat on the microphone. So another tip I would give you is with concerns to lighting. I like to have the sun or the light on the bees, if at all possible, and avoid shadows. Sometimes it's not possible, but that's really what I like to do. If you see right down here, you can see my shadow. So if I'm trying to see this beehive right here and I'm right over the colony like this, it casts all kinds of weird shadow angles. Also, you see sometimes the camera can get in the way, like if you're trying to do a selfie shot and the camera's right in your face. You may not notice it when you're filming, but to me it makes a difference if you try to avoid that. It's actually a little easier sometimes to film videos if it's kind of a cloudy, overcast day because you really don't have shadows. So in this case, I'm going to try and set my tripod up such that, you know, we're at an angle where the shadows aren't casting on the hive. So I might actually come over here and film from this angle right here. So the shadows are kind of behind me, or I could even do it from this side, or maybe even from here. Now, if you look out here, you'll see these colonies are all different sizes. That's one reason I like to have the tripod that can go from low to high. Because I'm working with those apimays over there. Those apimays are quite tall. They're like, what, 4.5, maybe even pushing 5 feet tall. And that's gonna be difficult to do with a short tripod. But yet a really tall tripod won't work very well when you're doing a single deep like this. And now I want to actually set up the tripod and go through some bees with you and show you kind of some different tips that I do to kind of help share my experience with you in the best possible way. So my goal is to check this colony. So my goal is to check this colony right here. You see it's just a single deep, and I have my camera facing almost directly down. So this is one way you can do this if you want to get a better view over the top. What I also like to do sometimes is just lower the height of the tripod down like this. You can get more of an intimate, up close and personal feel for this thing. Now, lately I've been doing some videos where I kneel down by the colony like this and looking over my shoulder. And what I found is that can be a problem sometimes if I lean forward too far. I think I've got the camera set up pretty good this time to do this. So as you can see, we have the shadows basically over here. The sun is almost straight above us, so it's not too bad right now, but in late afternoon or in the morning, the sun can be over your shoulder. It can really create problems with shadows in the hive. And not that it's that big a deal. Some people don't worry about it, but it's just one of my little pet peeves that I have. So I've got it down here fairly close. You can even move it lower if you want to, if you want to get an angle like this. You can also put the camera kind of right over here. Just any angle you feel like will work good. If you have the tripod short, or if there may not be a bee on that side of the hive, you can put it actually on the opposite side of the hive. Get kind of whatever angles you want. And it doesn't hurt when you go between beehives to get from different angles so people can get a different perspective. So I'm just going to leave the camera right here, and I'm going to go through this colony real quick. I need to check on them anyway. This is actually a colony that might be struggling a little bit, and we're not going to talk a lot about bees here, but I just mainly want to show you kind of how I do this. Actually not looking as bad as I thought they would be. I set the lid over off to the side here, so now we have good access to the colony here. I've already smoked them down a little bit. We'll smoke them a little bit more. Sometimes I'll check up in here and just make sure it looks good. It does. You got a pretty good view of it. So I just kind of start going through the colony and kind of talking about what I'm doing. Now, like you say, it's pretty windy out here, so hopefully you can hear me well. I think you probably can with these mics. And this is not a beekeeping video as far as how to do the beekeeping or really showing how to inspect a hive, but I like to just make sure as I'm doing this, I keep the frames in front of the camera. And if I see something I really find is interesting, I'll turn it this way to try and get at a similar angle the direction of the camera. You'll notice I also have the camera on the horizontal setting, landscape setting. That works best for YouTube unless you're doing shorts. If you're doing shorts, then you actually want them to be in vertical format. So right here we're looking at, we got some, I'll explain kind of how we got some nectar coming in. We got some honey on this side. So I kind of walk through as I'm going and I describe what I'm doing. So you can just very gently go through the bees, explain what you're doing. Now, if these were really cranky bees or aggressive or feisty bees, they would be flying all around me, and you could hear the buzzing, but they wouldn't be right up in the microphone. If I didn't have the microphone inside my veil, they would be you just hear them pounding that microphone. It'd be hard to hear what I was even saying. So let's just look right here and see what we have. So we got the honey, the nectar, we got the bees. Bees are very calm, and I'll just point things out like this. We actually have a queen cell right here. You can see that right there in the camera. Got another queen cell there. So these bees might be on the verge of swarming. Another one right there. So I feel like I can edit anything I don't want in the video out, and so I try to kind of take my time and go overboard on my explanation and on the different angles that I'm doing. And so that's kind of, I do edit my videos. I think it's important to do that. in my case, because I want people to see, to be able to experience with me without having to watch a 45-minute video. There's the queen right here. We actually have a small virgin queen right here. So see, it's just right here. So when I do my editing, you may not be able to see it really well on the camera, but when I do my editing, I'll zoom in on her a little bit so you can see her. But that's a small virgin queen. So these bees have already replaced their queen. So I really kind of just want to leave this colony alone for now. Don't want to get in much further. Now we do have these swarm cells. I could make a split, but this is not really a video about keeping bees. To see how easy that is, it's real simple. What I want to do next when we're done with this is I want to go to one of those bigger colonies over there and show you how I manage that, because obviously it's a little different. You got to pull boxes off, and if you start off with the box up top, by the time you get down lower, you may not be able to see it according to the camera angle. So let's go do some colonies over there. Just for the beekeepers in the group, I'm going to pull a little split out of here. I'm going to take a couple frames with some queen cells and move them to a different part of the apiary here. We'll make a little split here, and that way this little queen that's in here can get mated. These bees might have swarmed. There are not a lot of bees in here, and so we'll go ahead and make a quick little split. So real quick for those beekeepers in here, I took one of those frames that had swarm cells on it. I put it in a colony over there that's having some issues, so we'll just let the bees work it out. Let's go over to one of the bigger colonies and go through that, and then and show you some tips there. Let's try this tall apple colony right here. As you'll see by looking at the tripod right here, I've got this thing extended all the way out with the legs, and then I've actually moved it up here a little bit so you can get a pretty good angle right in here. The challenge with tall colonies is, as you begin to pull the boxes off, you just got to make sure you're adjusting the camera with each box so people can see what you're doing. One more thing that happened a while ago is the camera that you're sitting on over there, the wind was blowing pretty hard from this direction, and I had the legs like this and it flipped over. So if your tripod is up tall, it's a good idea to flip the leg around. These two legs are facing the wind, and that leg right there is helping support these cameras from having them flip backwards. I haven't had that happen before, I don't think, but I thought I'd just give you a little tip right there as to what can happen. Now, hopefully these bees won't get feisty enough that I have to go put on my bee jacket, but if so, I will. Let's see how they're doing. Haven't been in here in a little while. Now, I just added these upper boxes on here a couple of weeks ago, I think, so they're actually up here working pretty good. Sometimes I'll check the camera like this and make sure. So what you can see right here is we have some honey coming in. Not a huge population of bees up here, but they have been up here working. And for those who may not be beekeepers, that is a beautiful frame of honey. That's what you're looking for right there. That's so exciting. Looks like I'm gonna have a honey crop this year. Look at that. So what I'll typically do when I'm doing these videos is I'll pull the box off like this. Then I'll look in the camera and make sure we can see what we're looking at. Now, right now I'm going to adjust this down like that so you can see still. These bees have filled this box up too, so we are actually in need of more boxes down here. That's good to know. What I'm trying to do here is I'm just going to pull a frame out here, take a look at it. I'm just going to show you at an angle where you can see it better what the bees are doing here with the honey. Anything I want to identify on this frame. And then we just kind of work through the bees like this, explaining what I do as I go along. So I took that box off. Once again, we're lower, so I need to bring my camera down. So all I do is adjust the legs like this. Take the legs down so we get closer to the action. And you can put them as close as you want. And sometimes I put it closer than others. I'm still trying to figure out the perfect way to do it, but this seems to work pretty well. Okay, so we're a little closer to them here. We do have a little bit of a shadow. It can't always be helped. You can even move it around a little bit if you want to, like this, just if you want to adjust it, whatever you want to do to change things up a bit. I'm going to do that actually. Move it right there. And now let's just go in this box right here. So you see how I did this? We go down one box at a time. Let's pull the frame out, take a look at it. Not a ton of population in these bees. I wonder if they might have swarmed, but they have put some honey in here for us. So anyway, these bees are getting a little bit what I call feisty or a little bit spicy. So I don't know that I want to do a whole lot more with them, But you get the concept. This is how I kind of shoot my YouTube videos. Just like for my viewers to be able to see what I'm doing down in the hive. I've done it all different kinds of ways over the years. Oh yeah, we've had a swarm. All these little queen cells here. I bet we've got us a queen in here that's in the process of getting mated. So I am gonna just leave them alone, let them figure it out. That's why the population is not huge in this hive. So stack them back up and let them do their thing. Adjust the camera a little bit sometimes. If I wanted to see this process, I don't always show this process, but there we go, just like that. One more thing you can do if you kind of want to show from a distance what you're doing, what it looks like, is you can just set the camera off over there on the tripod and go through a colony like that. I did that with a recent video where I was placing queen cells in some of these colonies. I had it set off there and I showed the process from a distance so you can kind of see how I worked everything from a distance, and so that works out well too. But I'm afraid if I do that all the time, people won't really be able to see what I'm doing up close and personal. And so I like to really let people get into the colonies with me. My goal is to give them an over-the-shoulder look, like an idea of what I'm actually seeing as I go through the bees. And I think that provides a good experience. Now, everyone's got to do their own thing, and some people have a different opinion on it. But I used to kind of sit a distance away. I'd sit on a bucket, I'd go through the hives. If I saw something interesting, I'd come and show it to the camera and then go back. But to me, I like for people to be able to see right on top of what I'm doing most of the time. Ooh, this hive, ooh, wow. My word, look at the bees. So in this case, I would just kind of do it from a distance like this, and I would explain what I'm doing, and or maybe even just silently go through a hive if I'm trying to show an inspection like that, with music in the background or whatever, you know. So just once again, I kind of go through the colony, show what I'm doing, pull a couple of frames out, you know, pull this box off and do the same thing. But I don't really have to adjust the camera too much then, because you're right there watching the whole process. That's another way you can do it. You just kind of like try to mix it up a little bit, just depending on what I'm trying to show. I like to film an outro in my videos. I think it's good to kind of summarize what you're doing. Of course, you don't have to, and I don't always do it, but I like to do that. So I hope you found this information and this video useful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. If you'd like me to do more content like this, just let me know down below. If you got any questions for me, just drop in the comments down below. I may do a follow-up video, or I may sneak an answer to a question or a tip or a trick in one of my YouTube videos. Real quickly, 4 things that are critically important. It's real simple. Number 1, the camera. You can just use your phone or whatever you have, doesn't matter. Just hit record and start filming videos if it's something you want to do. Number 2, you do need to figure out something about your sound. It's difficult for me to watch videos when I can't hear what the person's saying, or it's all muffled out by wind. Right now it's super windy, but you can hear me because of the dead cat on this DJI mic. It's important to get some sort of a dead cat or something for your mic as well, so you can share what you're sharing in all kinds of conditions if you're shooting outside. And number 3, the selfie stick works great for intros and outros like this. You can see it works really well. And number 4, the tripod is critically important if you're going to be doing things at different heights, or if you're filming by yourself, you got to have a tripod. So you can get started in YouTube really for quite cheap. You don't have to go out and spend a bunch of money. I do like to shoot plenty of footage, usually too much footage, so I'll be sure and capture what I want to capture when I'm going through my bees here or working on a project. In your case, you may be working on something else, but be sure you shoot enough footage to get your point across. You can always edit it later. And I do like to edit my videos and cut out dead space. I feel like people's time is valuable. I use Wondershare Filmora editing software. I don't know that it's not the fanciest or the best, but it works for me. I do pay for the top tier Wondershare Filmora to be able to have different options. They have a much cheaper edition where you can do basic stuff, and I used that for a while. Worked just fine. That's a wrap. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I've been working on trying to raise some of my own queens this year. For those who have been following the channel, you know that. And I put some of the cells actually in some of these colonies out here not long ago. If you want to watch that video, you can watch it right here. We'll catch you next time.